Patty Anderson. I'm the closing attorney at Clemmons Law, and I thought today that we would discuss the certificate of assessment. This seems to be a problem area of the contract, so I thought this would be a good topic to discuss. A certificate of assessment is ordered closer to closing, and what this does, this determines how much the seller may owe or how much the purchaser may need to pay forward on the settlement agreement. And there are a few costs associated with the certificate of assessment. One actually is the first thing I mentioned, which is actually how much it costs to order it, $200 to $375, anywhere from those ranges. And then there is the actual dues, again, which I just mentioned, which is the seller may owe 2 months or 1 month, and then the buyer may need to pay 2 months out when he's purchasing this property. Then the second thing on this also is the transfer fee. This is typically a buyer's cost. The buyer will actually pay to have it transferred from the seller to the buyer, and he's paying for that fee. That's one cost. But the last one, which is the one that always causes the problem, which is the special assessment. The special assessment is done, can be determined. First of all, special assessment is an assessment that is done by the homeowners association. Maybe there's going to be a new roof on the building or the condos, and they have determined that it'll be $1,000, and so this will be the seller's cost, and it will be maybe paid quarterly. So therefore, it would be $250 every quarter. Well, if it's been assessed prior to closing, then it is the seller's cost. Even if they sell it in June, the remaining $500 is still the seller's cost. You know that because it's at the bottom of the page on page 5 on Form 300. It says the special assessment, if it is done prior to closing, it could be done somewhere in between the time that you are actually signing the contract and then you're closing. That is the seller's cost. So if you don't want that to be the seller's cost, then you need to write that out. Almost all of these fees are negotiable, but you gotta write it out, and you've gotta explain it to your seller so they know this. Obviously, the dues belong to who they belong to. The transfer fee is always usually the buyers, and then the special assessment is always the sellers. But again, all that's negotiable if you write it into the contract. And that is really important to go over because if you're a realtor, you will have this problem. The special assessment will come up and it will become a huge problem for your seller, and they are going to be very unhappy. And that's what we don't want. We don't want anybody unhappy. We want nice, smooth closings. Thank you for your closings, and we look forward to working with you in the future.